Back in 2014, we were in a situation where our previous lease up in Maryland had kind of run out, and we were looking for a vegetable farm to either purchase or lease kind of along the eastern seaboard, all the way from Pennsylvania down to South Carolina. And I think North Carolina FarmLink had just gone live that winter. It worked as a matching program for folks like us who were looking for land. We could go on and look at the map of North Carolina and then connected with people who owned property. For us, it was a perfect match where Van and Bernadette were looking to have a young person or couple come and kind of rejuvenate the farm back to life. And so they were looking for people to come and farm food, was kind of their main criteria. I think we started out on a 5-year lease, a trial period, and then after a few seasons, they were willing to up it to, I think, 10. Megan and I, after conversations, we were wanting to kind of have a little bit more security after we had our first kid. And so we approached them and they were willing to work with us and kind of kick it out to 30 years, which feels really good for us. A lot more security and feel. We can really start to make some serious capital investments if we choose to do that.
So when I started looking for farmland, there really weren't many sites out there. FarmLink was the one that actually had landowners and farmers on the same site to where they could find each other. I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier working with NC FarmLink. I mean, they made this happen. I wouldn't have known even where to begin. You know, I'm not from North Carolina. We weren't living here at the time. It's really hard to find land to farm in a spot that you're not living. So this was able to allow us to line something up ahead of time while we were still living in Chicago. We knew we wanted to be in the Asheville area, so I pulled up as many farms around here, and we basically whittled it down to about 4. And we lined it up so that we could go visit all 4 on one weekend that I had off from snow plowing. And we just came down, we met with all 4, and this was just the best spot for us. And they were willing to work with us and on different infrastructure improvements, and they were just very fair the whole time. And it really turned out to be a wonderful relationship. So originally we agreed to a 1-year lease, and then after that just decided to renew it the next year, and then the following year, and then we were able to actually purchase the land. My advice to other landowners and land seekers would just be, get on the site, put some time into your profile to actually show who you are and what you're trying to do. And if you're genuine and you're sincere and you're willing to work hard, people will see that. I think it's a really great resource for anybody that's trying to find land to farm.
We live on Steeple Creek Farm in Pleasant Garden. It's a little over 100 acres, and we have both registered Simmental and Angus cattle that we raise, and we also raise commercial beef cattle. It's a 5th-generation family farm. Our agriculture extension agent recommended using FarmLink. Most farmers nowadays don't own all the land that they use, so to have this ability to connect with landowners is really valuable. So we were very fortunate to find the land. The land that we lease is right next to our farm. So she had approximately 60 acres of hayfield that she wanted maintained. Without this leased land, we would not be as big an operation. It just enables us to grow more hay for our cattle.
We were just looking for land. I mean, hopefully land that had already been cultivated, because we follow regenerative practices. So with that being said, we wanted to have a jump start in land that was already being farmed.
It's kind of hard to search for cleared pasture for, you know, pasture poultry. But that's exactly what the app had. Like, it has it listed by like acreage, and
it was a really easy keyword search.
Yeah, like we're looking for apprentices and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, like this is exactly what I'm looking for.
Once we connected with him through NC FarmLink, we sent an email, correspondence, and from there we actually went and met him and viewed the property in person, and it was a match.
Being prior military, we've done a lot of leasing of properties in the 14 years that we've moved. We moved like 8 times. This was the easiest process we've ever had. After visiting the farm, we're talking back and forth over email correspondence, and I said, hey, this is the plan. He says, I think the land would be perfect for you guys. Here's my offer. It happened really fast, within like 2 or 3 days. And then we had our lawyers look at a lease agreement, and we agreed upon a lease agreement.
Developing a relationship with him kind of merged into us also leasing our homestead as well, for our family to be able to live and also farm at the same time.
That was important because at the time we were commuting from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Durham every day to farm.
We were having a hard time finding land where we were at. It was a bit too expensive for us, so we looked up FarmLink, and more options became available when we started exploring that. This wasn't the only farm we checked out through FarmLink. We had searched for about 2 years before we found this farm. I have to give a shout out to William Hamilton. He was there to touch base with us and see how it was going and kind of run some ideas back through him to feel like we were making prudent and smart choices. It was great that we had somebody from FarmLink to help that process. That made everybody in the situation feel a little bit more at ease.
The great thing about us finding this farm is that we realized that we were going to rent farmland that already had infrastructure there to do what we wanted to do, as opposed to in the beginning of our search, we were looking just for the land and the home, and we were going to invest everything into that and start from scratch. Do the homework, the math on what the infrastructure is going to cost to make that happen. And the last thing that I would add to that is start small and then grow.
We met great folks with the land, but you can't beat the connection that they have to the area and the markets, and having all of that established really made our transition here much better. The benefits far exceed just the land.